Welcome to The Other Side, where we take a ride each week and discuss our guests' personal journey, their hard work, sacrifice, struggles and failures, along with their passion, dedication, and determination. This is The Other Side.
Welcome to The Other Side with Clifford Hicks.
Hey, Chris. I'm pretty excited. He'll talk about how he made it all the way to the NFL. Can't wait for him to take us down memory lane.
We have a great show. Stay with us on The Other Side.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to The Other Side. Along with Chris, I am Los, your host. And today we have a very, very special guest. I'm pretty excited to meet him and get to know him. What's going on, Chris? How you doing?
I'm doing good. It's a beautiful morning again here in San Diego. We're happy to have you here and talk about your football career and much more. So, yeah, welcome to the show.
Thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
How you doing, man?
Doing all right, man. Amongst other things that's going on in society and stuff, you know, you can only take care of what you got going on, and that's what I'm doing and doing the best I can with it.
Well, it's very good to see you. Thank you for doing this, man. Thank you for joining us.
No worries, my pleasure.
I know you are a San Diego guy, but were you born here?
Yes, I was born in San Diego, 56-year-old. In fact, I grew up in the Linda Vista area and stuff. Went to Kearny High School, class of 82, so I'm lifelong San Diego resident.
Wow. How was that? How was growing up? Can you take me back to like your younger years?
Well, the younger years, you know, I'm a 60s kid, you know, born in 1964, and just... You know, it was compared to now, everything back then seemed very simple. You know, you go to high school and graduate and you start living life or going to the service, and, you know, the military, and, you know, you start living your life, you know, but these days, you know, it's a lot different.
Right. No, but as a kid, where were your parents from?
Well, my father, he's from New Orleans, Louisiana. And my mother,
Nice.
she's from a small town in Alabama, Anniston. And, you know, being from California, we used to take our summer vacation trips back there, you know. So I got to see what life was like, you know, back there in Alabama, as well as the area of New Orleans.
How'd they end up out here? I mean,
Well, my father was in the Navy, and my mother's sister, boyfriend / fiance, he was stationed out here, and my father, my father wound up getting stationed out here as well. And you know, when you hanging around with your friends and stuff like that, you meet. I got a friend for you to meet, or you know, and so be it. And you know, that's how they united.
wow, man. So then, do you have any brothers, sisters?
Yes, I have. I'm the oldest. I have two brothers and a younger sister.
Wow. So you guys grew up, and as a kid, what did you like football from the get go, or how does that? Because I mean, it's like you said, talking about different times. It's different times, you know.
Well, you know, like I said, growing up in the era, you know, you were just a kid outside playing anything, you know, whether it's baseball, basketball, roller skating, you know, it's just one of those things. I can remember, you know, I went through the phase of being a daredevil on the bike, you know, build our ramps, jumping over, you know, 3 or 4 of the neighborhood kids, and
Yes.
you know, and you know, you just when you did a project as far as making a ramp, a bike ramp to jump over things and stuff, you know, it's one of those anticipation. You couldn't wait for the next day to get back to it and, you know, play. So yeah, it was fun. I love my childhood. I love where I grew up in the area that I grew up as well.
Absolutely, man. Just saying that takes me back. Did you do any of that stuff, Chris? Because I know we did. It was great. You get. And then you start modifying your little bike, and you start making ramps, and
Yeah, I had several bikes, and that's what you did. For me, it was the 70s, so that's what we did. We went to the store, we got a Coke and some candy, and rode our bikes and played football all day in the street. You know, that was
Exactly.
yeah, man. You know, it's they say, you know, you don't even realize how happy you were, right?
Right. Exactly.
A lot simpler life. So you went to high school. Actually, did you know, nowadays you got Mighty Minds, you got all these things as far as football, organized football. Right. Did you do any of that?
Yes, I participated in Pop Warner, the
Right.
Kearny Mesa Association. From there, I like I said, I went to Kearny High School. I was on the team. Didn't really get much playing time and stuff. And all the success that I had in the quote unquote Pop Warner, I thought I should have been one of those guys that was actually getting playing time, if not starting and stuff. So, like most kids that not say participating in the sport, I quit. And
that happens a lot. I mean,
Right.
it's not. Now, but take me back. You were a Pop Warner. Did you play defensively all the time, or
no,
were you playing
I-
everything?
At heart, I'm a running back.
Really?
Yeah, I ran the ball. I mean, there wasn't a game where I didn't score at least 2 to 3 touchdowns. So being a running back was my first initial calling.
Wow.
So yeah, I've always loved having the ball in my hands and trying to do something with it.
So what happened in high school? Like, what do you think? When you started playing high school? Were you still trying to be an offensive player?
Yes, well, I was in the running back group, and I just went from having all the success of playing to being in a situation where I wasn't playing. I was doing everything in practice. Come game time, no run, so to speak, in the game. I get the scrap time. The last maybe like the last 36 seconds or something like that. And I would go in and try and do something and have some type of self. I would say self. Congratulations to myself as far as I did something positive in my view.
Right.
But ultimately, I got tired of it, and as I look back on that type of stuff, it was doing nothing more but developing my mental toughness. And that's a lot of that's a lot of things that I that's one of the things that I when I talk to these younger athletes and stuff, being the top guy, then going somewhere or not, getting that run, so to speak. I'm saying that's the time where you got to dig in. You'll find out who you are, and that's something that you got to go through.
Absolutely, because it's a funnel. It's one thing to be good at Pop Warner, and then it starts, then high school, then college, and then sometimes how it is. Sometimes you don't get all the breaks, so you just gotta kind of stick with it and do your thing. Now, in high school, were you thinking about like the NFL when you were playing? Did you get? Because nowadays, like kids right now, like they're super young and they're already thinking about the pros and stuff like that.
Right,
How was it for you?
Well, like I said, it goes back to the beginning. I just loved, playing stuff. Whether it's like I said, football, basketball, all that. And I just loved to play. And to answer your question, no, I didn't really think about getting to the pros or even going to college, so to speak, when it came to sports. I was kind of ignorant to the fact, as far as these steps that you have to take to get to the ultimate. And I just happened to be a person that was, I guess my play showed how much I loved the game, how much I excelled at it, to where I was just able to move to the progressive next level, after my Pop Warner era was over. Then the little stint in high school. Then I wound up going to junior college. And I was the best I could be at junior college. And then I gained attention to, get scholarship offers where I ultimately ended up at the University of Oregon. Right.
That's a big one. So in high school, you said you quit. But did you finish high school as far as
Oh yeah. I quit sports.
Right.
As far as I quit football. I ran track. And,
wow.
excuse me. One of the coaches from the neighborhood college, junior college, Mesa College, one of the football coaches was always around at the track practices as well as the meets. And, he would encourage me and other guys, hey, we're right down the street, so after high school, come on over, you know, and, it took me about a year and a half after high school to get enrolled in the college, because after high school, I didn't want no parts of school. I wanted to start living life.
Really?
Yeah.
You weren't thinking about college, universities. You were
Not necessarily.
I was gonna ask you about that, like high school when you're playing, but that's when we start growing and we start getting into other things, or we have other interests. Were you doing other? Were you working part time? Anything
Well,
like that?
I started working after graduating from high school. I picked up 2 jobs, started working, and I even had I even thought about even going into the military. A lot of my friends went into the military and all that. But I was just in a situation where, hey, I'm making some money now, working my 2 jobs, old school Pioneer Chicken and handyman, which is now basically the
I remember that.
That orange crust on that chicken, that was something, man.
Hey, dude. You didn't get overweight where you were doing.
No, nothing like that. Nothing like that. Back then everybody was, in their ideal weight, and if you wasn't, it was because you was what we used to say, you're greedy. So.
Oh, that took you back, huh?
Oh yeah. I had my fair share of Pioneer Chicken.
Hey, there it is.
Hey, so you're doing you're doing your thing. You're working, you're getting by. Your dad being a military man, did he ever tell you, hey, that's a good option?
Yeah, my father, he encouraged us basically, hey, when it all fails, you can always go into the military. In fact, even upon going to the university and stuff, had football not worked out, who knows, I probably would have went into the military and as an officer or something like that, because I had my schooling behind me, so to speak. So it was just it was some plans, some plan B things going on, as far as career mind.
Now, so high school you were done basically with sports, and then high school you were done with studying, and you said there's always people that kind of, like you said, that the coach was inviting you, like, hey, you should come, and there's always people that kind of, we look back and we're like, wow, that guy took the time and kind of
influencer. Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like it was kind of weird, so to speak. I'm at Pioneer Chicken. I'm in the back frying some chicken and stuff, and as a fryer, you basically you wear your long sleeve shirts, and I had a thermal undershirt on, and for some strange reason, I didn't have it that day. So I'm back there cooking, and I remember going to the basket, and I was about to pull out some chicken, and I shook it, just to make sure it wasn't connected to the basket or whatever, and I got popped by some oil.
Right. Ooh.
Now it wasn't like a serious burn or anything, but the fact that I got popped by that hot oil, that chicken grease, and I remember vividly saying to myself, you know what, work's not for me right now. I need to get my butt back into school. So that's how I wind up enrolling in Mesa Junior College.
We all have, especially sometimes we don't pay attention, but we all have those little moments like. What am I doing here?
Funny moment, yes, sir.
Yeah, man. So that's crazy that burnt kind of woke you up.
That chicken grease. In fact, my son, he had wrote a paper for school, and it was basically based off that, and he titled it "Chicken Grease."
Wow.
Yeah. So and he got an A on that paper, so to speak. So
yeah, I would imagine. I mean, how old is your son? Or
he's 22 now.
But those things are, because I'm sure he's growing up and he realizes, like, wow, that changed my dad's path in life, and who knows what happened,
Right, exactly.
So you're going back and you're doing your thing, and it's a big step from junior college, especially back then, to a big time university like Oregon to notice you. How did that happen?
Well, it was just like I said, I was ignorant to the whole fact of the recruiting process when it comes to football, or actually sports in general. I, like I said, just by me being good enough in somebody else's eyes, so to speak, gained the attention to. I started getting all these letters, and I remember the first letter I got, and it's like, well, what's this for? and after reading it and stuff, and it showed that.
Hey, we all got cell phones. You gotta take that. You take it. You take it.
No, I ain't gotta take this. I need to.
It's all good.
It's one of those new iPhones. I'm trying to learn how to shut it off. They don't work like all the other ones. So.
No, they don't. Like my wife has that 12 or whatever it is, and she hands it to. I've got like an 8, or 6. Where's the control? There's no hard buttons on them anymore. I know. Right.
I know. Like when I went from pushing the button to the screen, it took me a while but it's always sorry
about that, Joe.
No, man, don't even trip. Don't
even sweat it. So you were saying that you started getting noticed. You got that first letter.
Yeah. Well, I got the first letter, and was just reading it, and it kind of like, well, wow, what's this really all about? And then when I started getting the other letters, then I'm starting to think back. Oh, okay. Well, this situation, that situation, because I had friends that had got scholarships straight out of high school and stuff.
Right.
So then it dawned on me, hey, this is the process, and it wasn't something that, like I said, it wasn't something I set out to do and stuff. It was just, part of the process, part of the learning curve as you're growing up, becoming a man.
Damn, man, that's almost a shame, that we don't have. Or nowadays it's a little bit different, but back then,
way different now.
Somebody hold your hand, right?
Right.
To say, look, as soon as they see some potential, look, man, and don't follow this path, and it'll make it easier instead of just you were flying blind, basically.
Right. And like I said, the coach that would come from the junior college to Mesa, to Kearny, to have us come over there. He started grooming us through the process, and of course he's like, you got any questions? And when you don't know too much about it, you're like, but I can think of a whole bunch of stuff I should have asked and all that stuff. I had scholarships all over the place.
Wow. But it's hard when you don't know.
Yeah,
you
exactly.
don't know. How are you going to ask a question if you don't, it's kind of hard. So you started getting letters. What cut your eye, or how come you decided on Oregon?
Well, ultimately Oregon was the closest option for me. Far enough from home, but still close. I had potential scholarship offers from USC, UCLA, schools back east.
Wow, man, those are power schools, especially football.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm surprised you weren't enticed by.
I was enticed, and I was thinking about it. And my father was like, you to be so close, you're always going to be home. You need to go out and see what life is like outside of San Diego, outside of California, and to me, Oregon was the right choice.
Now, did you think about the fact that because schools like UCLA and USC are powerhouses, it would be that much harder to start, and you're back to your high school experience? Did that? To be honest, I didn't. I wasn't even thinking on that type of level, because my whole thing when it came to school, I was there to get an education. Really? I was there to get an education and playing football, whether it be starting or just on the team. I was getting that education. That's impressive, because you know how it is. It's usually the other way around. People see the sport as a ticket instead of Hey, they say it all the time. A very small percentage of people actually make it to the professional, where you make a living out of it. Right. The rest of if you got a scholarship, take advantage of it. Yeah. Because so that's pretty impressive that you were actually. And like I said, just being ignorant to the fact of the whole process. As far as back then I didn't even really watch the NFL. You knew who the star was. The O.J. Simpsons, the Roger Staubachs, the Terry Bradshaws, and
But you didn't really, like I said, when you
Jim
don't,
Plunkett.
when you don't, Jim,
Monkey, come on,
yep. You don't really
Gotta throw a
you
Raider
don't-
in there.
You don't really know of the whole process of how they got there, knowing that, hey, they were stars in college, so only the stars go to the NFL.
Right.
And that's not true.
Right.
Any and everybody, you set yourself in the situation, you can be in the NFL. You can find yourself in the NFL and stuff. So, no, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna ask you, so getting to Oregon, how was that like? Like, just living out of state, being away from home.
As a 18-year-old, it was just exciting. It wasn't nothing more than, my friends going away to boot camp in the military. I just happened to be going away to school. So, that's where you really define your life as far as growing up, because you're out there on your own. Nobody's telling you, nobody's waking you up in the morning. Hey, you got to go to school, get up for school and all that. You got to do all that stuff on your own. So you learn how to be you're supposed to learn how to be a sensible adult,
Responsible.
in society. Yes.
But you'd be amazed the amount of dropouts because kids can't handle it. They get homesick, right?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I've got a boy that's just coming back from college now. He's been home since before Christmas. Of course, under the conditions we're in, it's a little bit different. But no, definitely the homesickness does rock him a little bit. It was pretty much the first year. Like after the first year, they got a little settled in.
Yeah. They got to get through that. My daughter went to, she's a gaucho. She went to UCSB, and when we were going through the motions, and we
Santa
went
Barbara,
up there,
okay. Mm-hmm.
Santa Barbara, yeah, and they told us like, hey, just hold on. The first semester's tough, and we get a lot of kids calling home and Dad, come pick me up and all this. Just, let them write it out, and eventually they start adjusting.
Right, and and it's just that whole process. In fact, one of my friends that out of high school got a scholarship. He wound up coming home. He was homesick.
Right.
Yeah. I think for me it was just hey, I'm at school and I'm just seeing what life is like outside of San Diego, because my message that I tell to the kids when they do go away to college, don't worry about it. Don't worry about what's at home. San Diego is always going to be San Diego.
Right.
Don't matter how long you're away from the city. When you ultimately come back home, you can jump right back into the groove and do whatever it is you're doing and stuff. So experience that life to your utmost best, and just do that. And when you come back home, you'll have some stuff to think about how you want to work the next chapter in your life.
Now, once you're up there and you're settled, and then you start going to practice and stuff, do you remember the first time? I mean, that's big time football too, and you got a packed stadium and all that. Well, how was that experience for you? Because it's not high school now. It's
Yeah, it's funny you say that. In junior college, I was a top punt returner.
Okay.
And I just, like I said, I had the ball in my hand, me being a running back, so I love to do what I do and run with the ball and stuff. And, our very first game at the University of Oregon, we played Washington State, and it was on national television.
Really?
So
Under the lights.
so I was, I was hyped. I was like, my friends are going to see me. I'm about to get down, about to do my thing. And, man, it came down to me going out there, catching my first punt. Well, not catching my first punt, but going out there to receive. I use that word, receive my first punt. National TV. I'm cool, calm, collective out there. The ball is a nice catchable ball. It hits me dead in the chest, and I miss it. I fumble it.
Wow.
So I'm coming back to, and I ultimately lose the ball. So I'm coming back.
The other team recovered?
Yeah, the other team recovered.
Oh.
So I'm jogging back to the sideline, and the head coach, he motions me to come to him. He says, "Welcome to college ball." That's all he said.
Straight up.
So,
Wow.
so I was like, wow, it's gonna be all right. It's gonna be all right.
That's cool, man. So it's basically saying, look, man, either you adjust or
exactly. And a lot of it is in regards of sports is how you bounce back from your adversity. There's a big thing on team adversity, put in certain situations, but ultimately as an individual who makes up a team as a member, it's how you bounce back from, your adversity or giving up a big play or missing a game-winning tackle or even a field goal missing, So I was good.
Oh, wow, man. But what do you think happened? You said you were cool, calm, and
I was probably too cool, because, it's something that I did a lot. I was very comfortable with it. And I can only think I was just too cool, and it's just something that happens. It happens to the best of us.
Game day nerves, right?
Well, I didn't even. I wasn't nervous or anything. It was just I was ready to show on national TV what I'm about to do, and it definitely didn't turn out that way for my first punt return.
Wow, that means.
That's water under the bridge. Then it comes to the. Did you get to play any more in that game? Or
Oh yeah. Okay. I still played, and it's just like I said, it's just one of those things where there's much more to this game than that. So it's how you respond.
So the next time that you received it, what happened?
The next time I received it, I caught it and did my little moves or whatever, and gained probably about 12 yards or something like that, and got hit, and I was like, okay, it's about to really be on now. So,
how did that feel?
It felt good. It was a feather on my cap because that first fumble, that first miss punt was water under the bridge,
right?
And it basically just let me know that, hey, it made me realize I really focused on, hey, you can have a bad play, but then you can also have a good play. So
short memory.
It's all about and especially the position I played as a cornerback. You have to have a short memory. I was very prideful of not letting guys get off the line of scrimmage. I used to just jam them up and make the quarterback look my way and saw that I was close or tangled up with his wide receiver, so he had to go somewhere else. So that was one of the things that I took pride in as far as my coverage concerned, is playing that position.
So how does that work? How do you is it coach based? The fact that he's a defensive back, but we can use him as a special teams guy, receiver. If you're playing defense, usually wide receivers.
Well, when you're playing the defensive back position, you essentially are an offensive player as well. I mean, those guys probably played offense, as I did, running back, because you're in the gist of the business is the ball. So whether you're trying to catch it or trying to stop somebody from catching the ball, you're very well accustomed to, okay, I'm involved with the ball, and it's an easy transition. I had a friend that was a quarterback, and he wasn't no defensive back. He was if anything in high school was a linebacker, So wow. that was kind of weird, so to speak. But he went from actually handling the ball, to before, tackling somebody with the ball or just staying in a certain required area of the field. So
now, did you stay in Oregon for all 4 years or
no? Well, being a junior college transfer, I just basically spent 2 years there.
Okay.
I did have the availability of having a third year, but during my time at Oregon, I gained once again the eye or the notoriety of scouts and stuff about possibly going into the NFL. So I went that route as far as eligibility is concerned after my eligibility, because I was hurt a good portion of my senior season, and I was actually about to what we call redshirt, where I could use my third year of eligibility, but I was able to come back and had some success after this injury, and just went with it.
So, as you're playing in college and you're having success, and you start now hearing about scouts and the NFL, did your mindset started thinking about like, hey, that might be great if I get drafted?
Yeah, it was an exciting, eye-opening experience, because a friend of mine that played at Oregon, he was actually at Mesa Junior College as well. He went the same route, and we were roommates.
Wow.
And stuff, and he had got drafted, and it just cemented the whole process. Like, oh wow, this is a easy process, once you know about it. But and I was forced to start thinking about that process because of my love of just playing the game and excelling at it enough to where somebody deemed, hey, this is a possibility this kid can play at the other level.
So how does that work? How do you start knowing that teams are interested, that the possibility of the NFL?
Well, the first part is that you would start. It's almost like the recruiting process in college. You would start getting letters from teams and stuff, and for me, I was getting these letters from potential agents. When I started getting agent letters, I took it as a recruitment type of thing again and stuff. And that's when it really kind of got serious, as far as me thinking, man, I actually could wind up playing in NFL, and I ultimately got invited to the combine in Indianapolis. And when I got there and I saw the Vinny Testaverdes, he was the quarterback for the Miami Hurricanes.
Yeah, it was big time.
He
won the Heisman, right?
Yeah, I think he did. Rod Woodson, the Hall of Famer, the Hall of Famer with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, that guy was a beast.
Yeah, and I'm looking at all these guys, and I started going to playing in these Senior Bowls. Like, I went to the Japan Bowl.
How was that?
Oh, it was cool. It was real cool. Actually, it was my second stint there because when I was at the University of Oregon, we had a game there against USC. So I had already been to Japan, so I knew the ropes, so to speak, of being over there and stuff. I just didn't like that long flight. But
how was that for
fun.
you? Like the first time you went to Japan? I mean, that kid out of San Diego, you're doing your thing, and all of a sudden you're on a flight to Japan.
Yeah, it was weird, as far as being on a plane that long, and you're in a foreign country, and just seeing all the things back there, and the lights, the glitter of that city of Tokyo. It was just a fast moving city, just like New York, and it was definitely a good experience. Like that.
So the second time around,
the second time there, I was a vet when it came to being in Japan and stuff. So I was cool. I wasn't all into the going hanging out and stuff, because I already did that. To me, it was like I guess I was kind of getting mature as far as football as a business. It was a business trip for me, so to speak. So didn't want to be that guy that was out getting into trouble or getting into any mischief, that took away from, what we was there to do as far as represent the country, my school, and, introducing the game to the Japan society, so to speak.
Wow, that was part of the deal. They just, introduce, or not introduce, but just promote football.
Football, yeah.
Did your coaches or whatnot have that talk with all the guys that were going over?
Oh yeah. That would have been very irresponsible of them not to. That's just one of those things. And unfortunately, coaches still need to do that even on the pro level.
Right.
You know, so because like I said, we're in a different society now, and
Oh, yeah.
we know of all the problems that are in sports today. So
Well, yeah, no, it's way different, different time. So then you start getting all these letters. You're getting agents now requests like these people, and so now you're like, oh wow, there is a possibility. And not only that, I gotta start looking at it as kind of like you said, like as a business. So, what happens next? Like, because even the draft nowadays, the draft is broadcast, and there's all this.
right.
I mean, there's a lot of because the players make so much money. I understand so much. But back then, you didn't have the live broadcast of the draft and all that stuff. So take me through that.
No, it was on draft day. If you weren't one of those guys that was slotted to be picked in the first round, those guys, they were brought to New York, just like just basically how it's done now and stuff, more like it is today. But I wasn't one of those guys that was projected to go in the first round. I was more of a second round, third round type guy. So my day was, for me, it was low key. I mean, I went to class.
But before that, how do you tell the league, or how does that work? Like, hey man, I'll be open to be drafted. How does that work?
You don't. You get you an agent. Once you get you an agent, you are basically a prospect of getting drafted or getting signed to a team. Like I said, I was invited to come to the combine, where everybody works out. You run a 40 time, you do all these drills and stuff. So
Right.
for me, for me experiencing that, I know it was real, that it was a good chance that I was going to be, drafted, so to speak.
You did good at the combine?
Yeah, I did good, did well enough and stuff, and then speaking with my agent, agents, they have good, I won't say good, they have relationships with all the teams, and some guys better than others who they do business with, so to speak.
Right.
But I just knew that I was going to get. I knew that I was, for the most part, it was 95% sure that I was going to get drafted. Where, I didn't know, but I knew I was going to sign somewhere.
So that day, are you just kicking back, just waiting to see
just kicking back. Like I said, went to school, and my roommate was like, "Hey man, you better stay by the phone." I'm like, well,
Yeah, this was back in the day with no cell phones.
There wasn't no cell
pagers,
phones, and there wasn't no pagers and nothing like that.
Right.
You had a pocket full of quarters, so to speak, if you had to call, or and basically what I did, my classes was over so early in the morning, so to speak, that it was over before the draft and stuff. So I was home when I got the call, by John Robinson at the LA Rams.
John Robinson, the head coach.
Yes.
Is that the way wow, that's a trip.
Yeah.
All of a sudden.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Remember, Joe?
That's awesome.
You got to
Coach Robinson? You remember?
No, I don't. No.
He was very, very successful. He took the Rams to a bunch of.
Oh yeah.
But can you imagine, like a head coach?
That's
Give me your
awesome.
call, like, hey man.
Yeah.
So do you remember that call? What did he say?
Yeah, he just said, "Hello, Cliff. This is Coach Robinson from the LA Rams, and we want to let you know that we want to pick you, and we just want to know, do you want to become an LA Ram?" And I said, "Of course I do." Yes.
Now, speaking of that, you said as a high school and all these things, weren't really like watching the NFL, but did you have a favorite team? Like maybe you had the Rams, you have.
I was Oakland Raider fan.
My man.
Oakland
yeah.
Raider.
There's two in the room. There's two in the room.
the Kenny Stablers.
The snake.
Lester Hayes. Oh man. Yeah. I was a. And I tell folks, I was a Oakland Raider. Oakland has been in L.A. Now they're in Vegas, but I was a Oakland old school.
Yeah. Man, it's been a rough 36 years. I tell people. For me, I'll tell you real quick. My family's from Northern California, and half of them are Niner fans, and the other half are Oakland Raider fans, right?
Right.
So as a youngster, I was growing up, and I spent my summers up there, and a couple of my uncles, Raider fans, they took me under their wing, bought me a couple jackets, a couple hats, blah blah blah. Watch the games. The worst thing is that I got a taste of success, Raider success back then with the Jim Plunkett's of the world, with the Marcus Allen's of the world, and it was great. And then it's been a
rough ride.
It's been a drought. In fact, my first game ever playing against the Raiders while I was in NFL was it was a AFC playoff game when I was with the Buffalo Bills.
Wow.
And I remember going out of the tunnel, and I looked to my right, and I just saw that silver and black. I was like, man, I'm on the field with these dudes, and these dudes are big, So it was my first, time, like I said, actually seeing the Raiders, and needless to say, as a Bill, we whooped them up. So
hey, easy, my man. Hey, so but yeah, because you obviously the Rams NFC, you hardly ever played against the Raiders, but. Let's go back to that phone call. That's pretty. How'd you feel about, after hanging up? Like that was the coach calling me direct.
Yeah, it was just one of those things where I was like, wow, an LA Ram and how suited that it. I'm back home in California. I'm an hour and a half away because at this time they were in Anaheim.
Right.
So just right up the 5. So it was like one of those things like, wow, I'm gonna be on TV, it didn't dawn on me as far as the money thing or anything. I was like, man, I'm gonna be playing football in the NFL. People are gonna be watching me now, real national TV, so to speak. My friends and all that stuff. So I went through a whole bunch. It's like almost, my football life flashed before my eyes, because I look back at, when I started off playing Pop Warner, playing in these, you had to tape your name taped on the front of your helmet, and seeing the guys who were good, the guys that weren't good, and I just relived all those little things I, went through as far as being a football player, and it was real cool. It was real cool.
Did you think about that time when you stopped playing in high school and like, oh, look at me now?
No, I didn't even think about that. I thought about that when I got to the Super Bowl, my first Super Bowl as a Buffalo Bill. And before the game, I was on the field, and once again, I had a football flash life, so to speak, of everything I went through, and that was in there.
Wow,
that was in there. Yeah.
So, what about your family? Was your dad a football fan? Was he?
Yeah, well, I was a Raider fan because my dad was a Raider fan.
Oh.
He didn't.
He's one of us.
He didn't like the Chargers for whatever reason.
Come on, Eric Coryell.
Yeah. I mean, my brother, my youngest brother, he was a straight out Charger fan. In fact, we clown him to this day because he had that Charger fever. When they would lose, he couldn't go to school the next day.
Oh yeah, I got a young son. It's just still to this day big Charger fan. Even though they left us, still a Charger.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that fan. Short for fanatic is that fan is real. My brother even had to go to a psychiatrist whose offices was they looked over into the Chargers practice facility.
Wow.
So yeah, it was. Now, did he really need to go to a psychiatrist? I don't know, but
he would probably pay the guy, hey dude, whatever, get out of here for an hour.
Look out of the window for an hour or so.
Watch him practice.
He just couldn't stand for them to lose, and his favorite player was John Jefferson.
John Jefferson.
JJ.
Yeah. Wow. So my dad back in the day used to direct the Don Coryell show.
Okay.
So I was at a real young age, I was exposed to all those guys. You know, Chuck Muncie, John Jefferson, Charlie Joyner. You know, all of them.
Deacon Jones, Fred Dean, all of them. Rest in peace.
Yeah.
You know, Fred. But
that was great. Charger football back there
Tell you what,
never been that good. It's never been that good.
Right.
I don't.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember they were like exciting, very exciting. Every Sunday they'd score points, and it was a good time.
Dan Fouts. I mean, come on.
Dan Fouts.
Wasn't very
Number
mobile, but he got the ball out there for sure.
Right.
Wow. So you get the call from the Coach Robinson, and then how was it getting to the team and fitting in and all that good stuff?
You know what? As far as the fit in part, the Ram was being an LA Ram. I got there, and it was just like any other football team I was on. New teammates, stuff. Everybody's cool with each other, and especially being the LA Rams. I mean, I was my locker was next to Eric Dickerson.
My man,
wow.
Awesome.
Me and Eric used to share Stay Soft, Jerry Curl juice, for our hair. Clee, you got any juice? Yeah, here you go. It was so cool. It was so cool being a LA Ram. To this day, we have a saying, we're Ramley. We had people that would come up. This one guy, he would always bring up a pot of black eyed peas, and give to us. And it was just a whole. I love being around. I hate when I had to leave.
Hey.
Yeah.
But Eric Dickerson, talk about man, that guy was good, man, and he was smooth, man. The way he ran, he was.
Yeah, the way Eric ran in the game is the way that he ran in practice. It was just effortless, the way that he ran, that long stride, and just how smooth he was.
That's a great word. Because, it was, sometimes it seemed like everybody else was in slow motion, and he was just like doing his thing.
Yeah. And, we had some good wide receivers, the Henry Ellis, the Ron Brown, he was an Olympic athlete, very fast, and we had some good players. I mean, even on defense, we had the late Kevin Green, who Hall of Famer just recently passed away.
Yeah. I was blown away by that. He was a young guy.
Yeah, we were. He was I'm 56, so he was 58, I believe.
Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I just saw that.
And then we had our all-pro cornerbacks. I came as a defensive back or as a corner. I was playing behind two all-pros. Jerry Gray and Leroy Irving.
Wow.
Then we had Nolan Cromwell, Vince Newsom as our safeties and stuff. And
that must have been for you. I mean, to learn from these guys, to kind of look what they're doing, and
learn and see, it was real. This is real football right here.
Because that's the other thing. Like I was talking before, like from Pop Warner to high school to college, it's like a funnel, right? And you're just the best of the best of the best. So now you get to the NFL, like the speed and the violence, and it's crazy. The game. Sometimes I tell people the TV doesn't do it justice, like what these guys do on the field.
Right.
It's obviously it's for like 5-6 seconds, whatever they play, but it's incredible what these guys do.
Yeah, you see there's a lot of the behind the scenes stuff that goes on a play that they don't show on the camera and stuff. For me, the transition from college to the pros was easy, because I always played fast. I would hit you if I had to. I wasn't necessarily a hitter as far as collision guy that just hit guys just to hit guys, but I was like, I played the game so fast that I was thought, okay, when's it really going to pick up?
Wow.
And it never did. So I fit right in, so to speak.
Now, speaking of that team, you also had Jim Everett, right?
Yeah, he was our quarterback. Yes, sir.
Quarterback. During the drills, do you guys played against them?
Yeah, like I said, it was normal football, just like from the Pop Warner level to the college. to the pros. It's everything is the same. You know, you have your defensive periods, you have your offensive periods. You know, now at the pros, it's a lot more specialized, localized as far as, you know, just say the group of defensive backs. You know, you had one side of the field where you did your drills and all this type of stuff and learned certain techniques, or, you know, whatever was called for the upcoming game. You know, yeah. So it was we practice against each other.
Cool. How was that? I mean, because that's like a NFL. I think it was like his second or third year, so he already knew what was up.
Yeah. You know, the stars, of course, got star treatment. You know, they maybe didn't have to practice as much and stuff, but you know, they had to keep themselves ready, available, and when the lights come on, we say the bullets are live, so to speak. That's when you can get hit and get hurt and stuff. You had to be ready. You know, so I mean, and that's just all part of learning the mindset of being a professional. You know, you always got to be ready. So, you know, those guys that didn't practice as much and stuff like that, there was a reason behind it because of what they did in the game. So they earned that. They earned that luxury. I got into a situation where, you know, I was going to be a starter for this one particular game. And Coach Robinson brought me over to the side. He said, "Hey, if you need to relax a little bit or whatever, you know, hey, take it off. You know, as far as being in the drills and all that kind of stuff." And I was like, "Okay, but no way," because I've always had to be into the situation to prepare myself for the games and stuff. So I didn't take that. I didn't take the soft way out, so to speak.
That's good coaching right there. Like, okay,
you're
gonna be a starter. You are in this bracket now, so now you deserve. If you want to take a break, you can take it because you're right here now.
Right.
Now you got drafted in '87.
Yeah, 87. Yeah.
And now that year was there was a strike, right? The NFL.
Yeah, there was a strike. Right.
You weren't part of that,
I was part of that. In fact, when the strike went down or whatever, I was back home in San Diego.
Were you getting paid?
You know? Dang, you know what? I don't remember, but I do remember that I already had my money, like for my signing bonus.
I was going to just ask you. I was going to say, hey, let's back then, because now it's out of control, right?
It's crazy.
It's crazy money.
It's crazy. Yeah.
But even back then, you had a signing bonus.
Yeah.
So that's
wow. Had a signing bonus, and you know, just you know, when I was back home in San Diego, just kind of you know, chilled out, just low key. You know, I wasn't a wild guy, so to speak. You know, being out, hanging out and stuff. You know, I was my normal self. You know,
really?
So, yeah.
You didn't come back like at the, hey man,
no,
NFL player, professional.
I wasn't like that. My friends and stuff, they wouldn't let me do that, and they probably would have held me in check had I did something like that anyway. As far as I was concerned, hey, I'm still just like you. You know, I just happen to be an NFL football player. So
it sounds to me like you had a really good upbringing.
Yeah,
you know, you had some well-rounded parents that grounded you when they needed to ground you.
Yes, you know, I grew up in the area. I grew up in the era where, you know, respect, not just respect from your mother and father, respect from your neighbors, adults. You know, which is very lacking in today's society.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. You never called a grown-up by their first name. It was either Mr. or Miss or Mrs., you know.
Yeah.
Today, you know, I get kids that say, "Hey, Cliff." I don't answer them.
Nice. Good for you.
I don't answer them. I say, "Hey, it's Mr. Cliff," or whatever, you know, and that's what I taught my kids and stuff.
Absolutely. So. It's one of those things like I kind of hate saying it because I don't want to sound like my dad, but I mean it's we need more of that. But that's a key, respect. Just respect.
Right,
you know,
right.
Don't people are doing some of the things you don't agree with. Just respect. You know?
Respect. I mean, we were talking about that when I came to your house when I was doing the stuff. You know, the lack of respect in society today. You know, so it's up to us. As old school folks to kind of just, you know, lead by example. You know, you see somebody, hello. You know, you just don't walk by people. I mean, when I was in New York, you know, I've always heard you don't look nobody in the eye and you don't speak to them. You just walk by them and go on about your business. I'm from Cali.
Yeah,
You know,
right?
we say what's up to everybody, hello, especially if you have eye contact.
Yes.
You know, so I mean, I was saying hello and stuff, and people were saying hello back. So I mean, I guess it's more or less is basically how you carry yourself, you know, and you know, you go from there, man.
Absolutely. You know, one time I had a conversation with my mom. You know, moms are wives.
Correct.
And one time I was kind of like, oh man, mom, there's a lot of bitter people out there. They don't even say hi, this and that. And she's like, no, I think the one that's bitter is you. I'm like, what? What are you? He said, yeah. I said, and basically she told me, let's do this for a month. Just go out there and just say hi to anybody and smile. She says, you'd be surprised how many people are gonna smile back and just say hi.
Right.
There's gonna be some people that are gonna ignore you. They got their own thing going, you know, whatever. Just
So
and there's gonna be other people that are gonna even kind of like look at you funny or like, why are you talking to me? And those people are just like you right now.
Right.
And she says, but let's just do that. And now, and sure enough, I came back a month later. I'm like, wow, mom, yeah. But most people, sometimes even if you just say hi, you know, how you doing? Hey, they just all of a sudden, you even kind of catch them on guard, but they're like, oh, cool. Hey, no, good. Hey, all right, cool. Have a good day, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And as far as the you know, the maturity and stuff, you know, I've said hello to people and stuff, and you know, act like they didn't see me. You know,
yeah.
And I'm okay with it.
I think a lot of it has to do with this thing. You know, people,
That's not- yeah,
people
that's not
have
helping.
their head buried in their phone when they're walking.
Right,
There's like no,
right.
and the social skills are just not taught like they were
Exactly.
to us. So it's
Exactly.
It's,
Yeah, and I
it's
agree with that.
different.
It's unfortunate because that thing it's great for certain things, and you know, even with social media, and it's good to have contact with, especially. But sometimes it seems like you got more contact with people that are far away than the ones you have right next to you.
Correct.
next to you.
Right.
So anyways, there was a strike back then, and so you went home. But the next year, I believe you guys had went on a good run, and actually you had a taste of the playoffs, right?
Right. Well, we've always with the Rams, we've always made the playoffs, but we actually had the NFC Championship game, well, NFC West game against, you know, those 49ers.
They were good, man.
Those tough 49ers.
Can't stand 'em.
With Ronnie Lott and all them cats, man.
Ronnie,
And,
Joe and
Montana,
before
Jerry
Young.
Rice, and you know, it was just
Ronnie was a monster, man.
Oh yeah.
Hate to say it because but they were good, man. They were
Ronnie's a good dude too. We were teammates at the New York Jets together. So
oh, is that right?
yeah, you know, and I remember my first game when I was with the Rams and we played the 49ers. I went up to Ronnie Lott and said, "Hey, my name is so and so. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you, and you know, I've watched you, and you know, I like the way you played." He says, and then he tripped me out. He said, "Oh yeah, I know who you are. I know who you are."
That's awesome.
and stuff.
Wow.
So, yeah.
But
So-
number one tells you like that guy he was studying, you know, like
Oh,
who's
yeah.
who,
Yeah.
who's who, and who's doing what.
Right. And that was just part of being a professional athlete in NFL, being a professional. You know, you don't only know the opponent you're studying, but you know the guys on the defense or the special teams as well and stuff. So
but that your first year was that that's when you went and played the 49 because I think didn't they lose to you guys lost to Minnesota, I think. Your first year.
You know when it comes to the games in particular years, you know, I'm not really sure. Other than I need to look at the book or wherever to find out. But yeah, we did lose a game in Minnesota, and it was one of those Hail Mary type
Really?
of balls. Yeah, in fact, I was on the field when that happened. You know. And,
brutal.
yeah, and I believe the guy's name was either Hassan Jones or Anthony Carter, somebody back then. But yeah, we lost the game on one of those situations.
Man,
and
it's
stuff,
brutal.
so.
Those are the toughest.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Because you played your heart out for 60 minutes,
Yeah.
and then just like that.
Yeah.
I know because it caught my eye because I mean, thankfully, we get to work, and I worked the Super Bowl in Minnesota. That stadium is new and it's got a roof and all that. But I tell people, and I wanted to ask you this because I tell people, it is so cold out there. It was honestly, it's one of the worst days of my life. Because I tell people, like, I've been in other places, New York, and it's cold.
Right.
I said, but Minnesota, man, it was punishing. It was brutal. It was so bad. Like, I was covered like 5 layers and just my eyes, and it still went through my, like, it was so bad, that you couldn't be without gloves because the frostbite.
Yeah,
and,
being from California, man, we have that thin blood or whatever. But back there, your blood thickens up. That's just part of the progression of your body adapting to the environment. So, needless to say, my time in the cold weather in Buffalo, I got to the point where it can be 20 degrees outside, and I'll be out there in short sleeve flip flops.
Jeez,
I love the cold weather. Growing up here in San Diego, we were spoiled weather-wise. Christmas Day, 70, 78 degrees outside, riding your bike.
Right.
Christmas morning, we wanted to go to the snow.
Yeah.
We wanted to go to the snow, but you had to go to Mount Laguna, Julian, or whatever
Big
to get
Bear.
to the snow. Yeah, but I experiencing that, I never thought I'd be cold ever again.
Man, when I saw that, I was like, I'm sure that he was, because when I was up there, I kept telling my friends, and like, bro, I'm not designed for this crap.
Yeah,
my body's not, it's just brutal.
Yeah,
and
you walk through those tubes downtown that
they live like hamsters.
Yeah, you're like a hamster.
Yeah,
you're like a hamster going through them tubes downtown and stuff.
Skywalk,
Yeah.
I was like, this is not right. If you guys gotta go do that, that's not right.
Yeah.
But and I was thinking about that, like, maybe he was like first year, cool, exciting. But it's in Minnesota and it's cold. I'm like, it had to affect you in some way, right?
No, not at all, man. Well, for me personally, no,
Right.
not at all.
So during that your run with the Rams, I got an uncle that's like it's kind of crazy Ram fan, and again he's lived through all kinds of
The ups and downs. Right.
But he's like us, like from way back when, right? So I'm sure he remembers those years. What was your favorite, I don't know, memories or from that run with the Rams?
You know what? I would say the whole experience. I just can't name one. Because first of all, I was playing in NFL, which I was very, very humbled and appreciative. I'm still close to home. I have guys I went to school with that lived in the nearby cities of Carson, Los Angeles, or, Walnut Creek, so I had friends, I had family all around me still. So it was normal for me. I was living the life.
Enjoying the ride,
in the NFL.
That's great. I gotta say, I got also a cousin, because he'll probably kill me. Like, hey, man, because he's been, dude. He hurts. He hurts when they lose. He's like one of these cats. But so the Rams, and you run. Like, speaking of friends, like, who you hang out with? Do you hang out with like defensive players, or do you have all kinds of?
And when you're playing, you hang out. There's little pockets,
right?
DBs usually hang out with DBs. Offensive guys usually hang out with offensive guys. It's that whole thing. But everything was so cool, that if I was hanging out with the wide receiver or whatever, that was my boy. We cool. It was genuine friendship. Especially that's what I found at the LA Rams. Everybody was genuinely called each other friends.
Nice.
And that's why I say we were like family, Ramley. It was that's what made my whole when I look back at my career, I'm glad I started off as a LA Ram, because everything was just so cool. It was just like being a kid again. We had the jokers on the field, the locker room pranks, and like I said, we had a guy that would every year he would bring a big pot of black eyed peas, after one of the practices, and you get your beans, and you take them into the meeting room and, watch your film, you hearing everybody eating their beans and stuff,
awesome.
So it was like life was good. Life was good.
What about other teams? Like, was it a rivalry always, or was there behind the scenes of like these guys are in town? Was there friendship among other
Well, yeah. There's always friends. No doubt, always friendship because I had good friends on all other teams and stuff, and one way how whatever, you ran across each other's paths and stuff. Like when I went to the Japan Bowl in college to Japan, my roommate, they paired you up. My roommate was a guy named Stephen Baker. He was a wide receiver for the New York Giants. I didn't get to play him until the Super Bowl, and we ran into each other and stuff. And it was like yeah, he's a New York Giant, and we're about to play for the Super Bowl, but that's still my boy.
That's awesome.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it doesn't really go that deep unless you had some type of bad history with a guy.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything else, you get along with some folks and some folks you don't. When I played with the Buffalo Bills, prior to me being there, you heard that story. They were labeled the bickering Bills. None of them really got along, or they had enough guys on the squad that, for whatever reason, didn't care for each other, so to speak. But once they got together and enjoyed each other and know that everybody was there for a common goal, the Bills was unstoppable back then in the 90s, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The Buffalo Bills, you were part of that team. Like, talking about the way things are different now. I mean, some players right now find out through Twitter or something that they've been traded. How did your run with the Rams end, and how'd you know? And then how was the transition to go into the Buffalo Bills?
Well, for me, I would say the first 6 years of my NFL career, actually throughout my 9-year career, I would say the first 6 years I was in some type of rehab, as far as injuries concerned, off-season injury. With the Rams, I was basically coming off an ACL reconstruction.
Wow.
Reconstructive surgery of my knee, my right knee. When I came eligible to start playing again, it became a numbers game. I had to, Coach Robinson had called me in the meeting, or he had called me outside of a meeting, and said, hey, we're going to have to let you go. We due to the injuries, we need to pick up, wide receivers, wherever. So that's when it hit me as far as the business side of it.
Yeah.
Hey, there's always a bottom line, and it's just part of the situation. So for me, I was cool, because my thing was, hey, I'm just now coming off this injury. I'm able to play, but I'm going to take this time to, come back home to San Diego and really rehab my knee. So the next camp, hopefully I'm in somebody's camp where I can pick up where I left off.
So you do that and you rehab, and how do you get a call from the Bills, or how does that work?
Well, what had happened was, soon as it was known that I was released, and they contacted my agent. My agent was on the phone, and he had a good guy, good relationship with a guy named Bob Ferguson, who was a general manager at the Bills, and they wanted to bring me out for a workout. In fact, prior to that, I went to El Segundo, where the Raiders were.
Oh my!
So
wow!
I did a little,
a workout,
a little workout for them. Then I got on a plane and went to Buffalo and worked out for them. And for some strange reason, it was right in the middle of the winter. It was cold, and I'm a California cat, so I was like, man, I think I'll go back home so I can do my rehab. But somehow there wasn't no flights available till the next day for me to get up out of there, and that's when we wound up working out a deal where I wound up signing with the Bills. and stuff. So.
Wow. See, that kind of stuff, it's crazy how things happen, right? Like that. If it wasn't a winter storm and you probably fly back and you're doing your thing over here, who knows? You might have ended up with the Raiders.
Yeah,
but.
and it's funny, man, because like I said, when we played the Raiders in one of those playoff games, Mr. Davis said, Cliff, you should have been a Raider.
Should have been a Raider.
You should have been a Raider. So, he was saying that jokingly. So, hey, it is what it is.
But if he said it, he had it. At least he knew about you. He had his eye on you.
Right.
So how was that going to play for the with the Buffalo Bills? That was a very good team. Yeah.
My time with the Bills, man. Hey, that's my number one thing, man. As a football player, you play to ultimately win a Super Bowl championship. I would say for most. I mean, for some guys, hey, they just want to get the money, get out, do whatever. But playing in Buffalo, the experience of the town, the guys. I mean, I have people back in Buffalo I consider family. It was just it's a different type of atmosphere when it comes to sports. The East Coast, West Coast. West Coast. Hey, when I was with the Rams and we'd be playing against the 49ers. You come out of the locker room, look up in the stands. You got more red than blue. You got more Frisco fans in your own stadium. I mean, people in LA. They had choices. They had other things they could do.
Right.
But back there in the East Coast, man, when you go to somebody's house, you seeing all the aunts and uncles, family members. You seeing all those fans. They're like, you may see a different color little section in the stadium. That's for them visitors. But you in their house. And man, like I said, man, I can't speak nothing more but positivity my time in Buffalo, because ultimately I was there and played, and I was there with them for the first 3 of the 4 straight Super Bowls.
Right.
So I got to experience the top game that every kid from Pop Warner, high school, college, ultimately want to play in. I played in 3 of those games.
Damn, with Jim Kelly, with Thurman Thomas.
Thurman Thomas, Andre Reed, Jim Lofton. I mean, the Cornelius Bennett's, Daryl Tallies, and
man.
Goodness, man.
He was a monster, Tallies.
I called him old school. We had a blitz on our side because I played on the same side as Daryl. It was called double B. And if I was too wide where I couldn't jump into that B gap, I gave him a signal. And we just worked off it so sweet. He would get a lot of sacks. I got a couple sacks, but DT, I call him old school to this day when I talk to him. Yeah, he's basically one of our unsung heroes on that team.
Yeah, no, I remember him. He was
Oh yeah.
very, very good. Sacks. How'd that feel when you finally got to one of them?
Yeah, when it was the double B blitz, and we were playing against Denver, and I got that, and I was surprised how easy it was to get that sack. It's just our defensive coordinator. He called the right play at the right time because it opened right up, and I just had a clear shot.
Who was the quarterback then?
The quarterback. I don't remember his name, but it was during the time when Tommy Maddox and another quarterback, they were sharing time.
Okay.
I can't remember the guy who I got the sack on, but they were sharing time on the field in a game. Whether one series, 2 series, but I got the other guy. So, yeah.
So, man, that was a crazy run for the Bills. So you went through that same time, I mean, every year you guys are playing 2-3 more games than the rest of the team.
Yeah. I mean, like my off season didn't really officially start until sometime in February, you know, and out of the first 3 Super Bowls that I was in with the Bills, you know, we should have got at least one of them, and it was that first one, Super Bowl 25, wide right. And,
speaking, we talked about the fact, like you said, that Hail Mary, you know, these things. You play for 60 minutes, and that was heartbreaking. I remember my cousin, the Ram fan. I remember we had a bet, and I had the Bills, but because matter of fact, you guys were such a high scoring machine that you guys were favorite. That wide. Damn, that must have been a sickening feeling, man.
Yeah, you know what? I tossed and turned that night because of the what ifs, what it should have been. Because early in the season, you know, we played the NFC East, so we played the Giants, we played Washington, we swept those guys. We swept every game. The 4 games that we played, the NFC East, we won. What I would not give to have lost to the Giants during the season,
right,
to then turn around to win the Super Bowl. But yeah, I mean, like I said, out of all of those games, legitimately, we should have won the first one. The other ones, you know, we had the big debacle in Minnesota.
Yeah,
you know, we got blew out by the Redskins, and then my last one was here in Pasadena against the Cowboys. We got toe up there. So,
but that's when the Cowboys and Jimmy Johnson and that they started revving it up, right?
Right.
They went on that crazy run too.
Right.
So, so you played that. Then you went on to play for the Jets.
Yeah, spent a couple seasons with the Jets. You know, the Jets at that time they really was putting in an effort of trying to do some things, because the Jets, they've always played hard, and you know, just for whatever reason, you know, we didn't really have too much success. In fact, that's who when I played with the Jets, Ronnie was also on the team. We had a guy, one of the well-known defensive linemen from the Giants, you know, so they had a collective group of guys that they had brought from all these different teams, and Boomer Esiason was our quarterback. You know, we had like Art Monk, a wide receiver that played at the Skins.
They tried to do a little bit of what the Raiders did in the 70s, you know, try to get all these people, players with chips on their shoulders, or they were still kind of good, but kind of not good enough for their teams. And that's kind of hardly ever works. I mean, that's...
Yeah, well, we see that now.
Yeah,
you know, on paper. I mean, we even see it in basketball when the Lakers got all those guys. Yeah,
superstars, and
it just didn't pan
Malone
out.
And all those people. And then, so then you end up in Denver, and by speaking of Super Bowls, then you end up in Denver. Then you retired, and then those fools go and win the Super Bowl the year after that.
You know, it's just kind of weird how. Well, it's kind of funny how this whole thing, you know, me being with Denver and stuff follows up. But you know, because I started out when I was with the Rams, I was number 28. When I got to the Denver, I was number 28. Okay, so my first game as a LA Ram, I played against the Denver Broncos in the American Bowl. It was a preseason game in London. So I'm number 28 for the Rams. We're playing the Broncos. I'm a Denver Bronco now. I'm number 28, and you know, what ultimately ended up to being my last year of playing. But we were playing our last game against the Raiders, and you know, we won. And I'm walking off the field, and I just happened to look up at the look up at the scoreboard. And I said, you know what? I think I done played my last game.
Really? Just like that?
Just like that. And as it turns out, I was done.
The Denver Broncos that come to San Diego, and they win the year after you retired.
Yeah. So the next day after they win, in fact, they had beat Green Bay. It was I believe it was Green Bay that they played. I go to the hotel, you know, where those guys are at. And they're looking at me and they said, "Man, you retired a year too early. You know, you can get, well, back then they said, man, you could have a winner's ring instead of those losers' rings." You know, so yeah, it's something I look back on. You know, I think back, you know, dang, maybe I should have expressed a little bit more enthusiasm about wanting to come back, because you know, the Denver team was they were definitely a talented team.
Right.
You know, John Elway, the quarterback. In fact, it was Terrell Davis, a San Diego resident.
Right.
He was a rookie. And, you know, we had the Vance Johnsons, you know, wide receivers. So, Atwater, our safety. I mean, the Broncos was definitely a force. And I saw that. I saw a lot of that Denver team that I saw when I was with the Buffalo Bills. You know, and it gets at me a little bit that I wasn't a little bit more enthusiastic about, hey, I want to come back. I want to do this. I want to do that because I can see this. You know, and I'm saying this in regards of my season-ending coaches meeting. You know, I'm sitting there with Shanahan. You know, and I think I should have maybe sold myself a little bit more as far as wanting to come back, because I came to the Denver Broncos I believe it was like maybe the last six games of the season, because I was coming off a hamstring injury that I occurred earlier that year in the San Francisco 49ers camp. You know, and yeah, it was just one of those things. I guess I had a shoulda, woulda, coulda moment where I should have did this for that ring, so to speak. You know, I mean, there was chances for me to even go back to Denver that year. They were looking for a punt returner. The coach had called me, and he asked me, was I ready? You know, he says, stay ready, because we need a punt returner, and we want to give you a call. You know, and they wind up calling this one cat. I forget his name. Todd Kinchin, the Raging Cajun. That was his nickname. He was a wide receiver, and yeah, they went ahead. I guess they needed more wide receivers, if anything, so they got him, and he wound up getting hurt. You know, but they just made their initial plans, took care of what they needed to take care of, so they didn't need my services. But yeah, it's a shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah, man. But besides, I mean, obviously you wanted to be a part of that team, but it was an incredible run.
Yeah, I mean, you know, as I look back at it now, yeah, I mean, it was cool. No real complaints and stuff. I did it, and I learned from it, and a lot of stuff that my thinking wise, as far as, you know, issues, whatever they are, you know, I look back to, you know, my time in football, you know, the mental tough aspect of it, or problem solving aspect of it. You know, you can only just move on, or, you know, do what you need to do to move forward, you know, so.
Is there anything that you take away from the NFL that you, today, that you still utilize in your life, or remember back from, or?
Well, I would say work ethic. When it comes to the way I work, you know, work for San Diego Gas and Electric, and, you know, I kind of line everything up as a football team, so to speak, you know, with my group. You know, we got our supervisors that are head coaches, you know, and, you know, my peers, you know, we're the workers out in the field doing our thing, and, you know, the way we work, the way we do things, the way we're held accountable, you know, to what we do out in the field, you know. Yeah, that discipline is there for me to keep everything moving forward, not to be that guy that is a problematic person. You know, I always feel like I'm there to help. I don't want to be the one that needs the help. You know, so, and like I said, I attribute that to my experiences being a football player, you know, as well as my upbringing, you know.
Hey,
That bat phone's ringing.
Bat phone.
Yeah, it's there's a. Do you by any chance do you know the McPhersons?
Not offhand.
Okay. I don't know if you played with them. I think one of the. I know obviously Miles played with the Chargers here in San Diego, but I think his brother played for Buffalo, if I wasn't mistaken. Maybe it was a short stint there. I'm not sure.
I wasn't there then.
Okay. Yeah, he was probably a little bit older than you are.
But Miles, who does the church here stuff, he was one of our speakers at our Sunday morning services. That before the game, a group of guys would go and he was one of the speakers.
Yeah. Cool.
Hey, and you touched on San Diego Gas and Electric, because when you retired at the end of the day, you're still a young guy, right? And so you. Yeah,
I mean, I was 30 years old, and actually I was 33 when I retired, and when I retired, I was just done with football, and there's only so many things you can do as far as a retired athlete, golf, fish, whatever. Or,
right.
I didn't want to do no business. Didn't want to get into any businesses. I didn't want to coach. A buddy I grew up with said, "Hey man, come on SDG&E and read some meters." I was a meter reader, man. And, I was working for 6 months and I'd be off for 6 months. That was my schedule as a football player. You work for 6 months, you're off for 6 months. So it was an easy, cool transition for me.
Wow.
And then I guess I did well enough to where they wanted to hire me full time, permanent. So, it's 23 years later.
It's a trip, man, because like the NFL back then is not what it is right now, right?
No,
can you imagine
it's not.
making what defensive backs make nowadays?
Well, I'm gonna throw this out there. When I was a third round pick. My signing bonus was $125,000. My first year contract was $110,000. The second year $115,000. The third year $125,000. Now that was in '87. A buddy of mine's younger brother had got picked relatively the same pick as me. I mean, he was a third rounder, and this was probably maybe '99. His signing bonus was $400,000. His first year was $250,000. Second year $450,000. Third year $550,000. So and that was then.
Right now
those guys. You cannot be mad, but those guys are making some money now.
Right.
And I think they may even have some of the attitudes that a lot of these guys have now, as far as don't care if they get cut or doing the stuff that whatever happens out there, because their mindset is, what are you going to do? Cut me? I got my money. Yeah, right. My era, I kind of think that they kind of had that whole carrot dangling over your head.
Yes.
You're chasing that. And for me, going back to my NFL career, being hurt a lot, I felt like I was always chasing that contract.
Right.
Chasing that contract, because I was in the last year of my contract when I got hurt, and I was, we were gonna go for big on the second contract, but it never happened.
Damn.
So when they signed me back, they gave me basically, it was a rehab contract, so to speak, and it felt like, dang, I'm starting from that all over again. So, but hey, I made some good money. I'm not tripping. I don't fret about all that. My whole thing is my experience that I had as an NFL football player, especially representing San Diego.
That's right. Well, hey man, it's been wonderful to have you, man. Thank you for this crazy trip down memory lane. Now just imagine a little kid playing Pop Warner, went to Japan, Oregon, NFL, stadiums, Super Bowls. Right. I mean, it's a beautiful run, man.
Right, and it's like I said, it's definitely a blessing and stuff, and it's stuff that I could, when I speak to, like I said, some of the younger athletes and stuff, I can, really give them some good ins and outs of, hey, just go through your process, man, because this happened or this can happen, that can happen. So it's It's a good thing, man.
Well, thank you very much for joining us. Like I said, man,
worries.
it's been a great experience to go through down memory lane.
Yes, sir. I appreciate it very much.
Thank you very much. Have a great day.
Thank you.
Goodbye, everybody.
Clifford Hicks, what a class act, what a gentleman. Great story about his NFL career and his college start.
Absolutely, man. I enjoyed it. You are 100% right. Class act. Hey, guys, check out our website at www.theothersidepresents.com and please follow us on social media. We are on Instagram at The Other Side Presents, Facebook, The Other Side, and check out this and other videos on YouTube. Thanks for riding with us. We'll see you next week
On the other side.